Sit down in a quiet room, close your eyes, and stay completely still. You will soon touch a rising invisible presence, anxiety. We tend to think of this anxiety as a learned behavior, a byproduct of a stressful modern society, but it isn't learned. It is an innate cellular vibration of fear that every human being brings into the world. This condition is known as the sacred wound. If you look at a young child, they appear utterly unconstricted. The wound is dormant. It only begins to awaken as the child develops a distinct sense of ego, an I, and an awareness of their own mortality. Because this anxiety is woven directly into our biological hardware, treating it merely as a psychological flaw to be cured is a mistake. We carry it as a constriction deep within our physical being, and we cannot prevent it. The trap most of us fall into is trying to logically think our way out of this physical constriction. We assume that if we just acquire enough mental knowledge, we can solve the body's discomfort. This diagram shows the brain as an industrial control panel. When anxious, the mind frantically fires commands to stop the machines overheating. But psychoanalysis hits a wall. You cannot neutralize cellular vibration through logic. The intellect lacks tools to cool the system. To bypass the intellect entirely, we have to rely on a purely biological mechanism. We have to contact the vibration directly through the breath. You take about 17,000 breaths every single day. For most of us, 0 of those are conscious. Our respiratory system runs entirely on autopilot. Bringing awareness to this autopilot is the first phase of transforming anxiety, a step called allowing. This is a purely physical domain. You don't have to like what you're experiencing. You just have to bypass the mental chatter and let the body be. Ignore your thoughts. Ignore your feelings for now. Let them do whatever they want. Focus strictly on locating the raw, physical discomfort in your body and let the breath flow into it. This simple act of allowing slows down your deep rhythms. It establishes the vital physical stability required before your mind processes intense emotional data. Once your breath settles, you enter the second phase, acceptance. The focus moves out of the nervous system and into the chemical realm of human emotion. You finally make contact with your feelings without being overwhelmed by them. But it is critical to distinguish true acceptance from mere resignation. They look similar on the surface, but chemically they are opposites. Resignation is a physical and spiritual collapse. It is a dropping of the head, a yielding to the shadow with zero awareness of anything higher. It is the belief that things can never get better. True acceptance, however, is an act of defiance. It is done with your head held high and a deep breath of courage. This upright posture and open heart physically alter your body's chemistry, transforming paralyzing fear into the tangible hope of life. The final phase is the embrace. This is the mental aspect of the process, where the mind finally gives up its desperate control over the body's experience and surrenders to the present. We struggle with this surrender. Modern society builds incredibly tame, comfortable environments, like a lush, idyllic vacation in Maui, and then uses technology and substances to artificially numb itself even further. We insulate ourselves from pain, but in doing so, we block out beauty. To process the true, wild beauty of existence without flinching requires an inner warrior. You have to be willing to let the agonizing suffering inside you exist right alongside the breathtaking beauty of the world. When you open yourself up to profound life and love, it will devastate your mental structures. As the poet Khalil Gibran wrote, "Love will shatter your dreams and lay you waste like the north wind lays waste the garden." Only by actively leaning into this overwhelming emotional spectrum can we finally break out of the mind's addictive, constricted loop. This 3-part process leads toward a state described as the 25th city, universal love. Universal love functions as the connective tissue holding together everything in our dimensional field. This chart illustrates how it bridges the distance between seemingly separate objects, unifying them into a single cohesive fabric. The primary obstacle to realizing this state is the collective human wound of shame. Archetypally represented by Adam and Eve covering themselves in the garden, This deep sense of unworthiness drives our modern symptoms of greed and selfishness. Our civilization's obsession with accumulating wealth acts as a structural coping mechanism for this unhealed shame. We use money to try and fill a void that only exists because we haven't yet accepted the biological presence of our own suffering. You can begin addressing this void through mundane, everyday frustrations. When a car moves too slowly in front of you, or a sudden rain shower ruins your plans, use the allow, accept, embrace sequence to surround that discomfort with awareness. These micro moments of awareness connect us to the holographic memory stored in our DNA. This genetic code contains an imprint of our future potential, a version of humanity that has moved beyond the personal dimension and into a collective state of being. As individual acceptance dissolves the underlying shame that drives greed, the external structures of our world must change to reflect that shift. A society that no longer feels unworthy has no biological use for the hoarding of resources or the necessity of money. Confronting our private anxieties serves as the catalyst for this broader transition. By healing the wound of shame within ourselves, we clear the way for a new human collective built on service and global philanthropy.